about this.
Sure.
Hi, everybody knows I'm Peggy, and I met Roy, Dr. Speiser, he's a former chiropractor. And I met him through a business group that I go to. And when I was diagnosed with my horrible issue, one of the first things I did was call up Dr. Speiser and say, hey, I need a whole water treatment for my house plant. So he came and he did my whole entire house. And that was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And it's been absolutely great. So I am all about health and helping people with what they want to do. So that's why we kind of partnered up with Roy to help you guys with water. It's very important. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, great.
So thank you.
Well, thank you, Peggy. Peggy's wonderful. I like being in here because we're in a very healthy, health-oriented environment. And I like healthy environments. I create healthy indoor environments. That's really what our mission is, because there's two types of situations you're in. Either you're healthy and you want to stay healthy, or you have a serious health issue and you want to become healthy. So, you know, we make these journeys throughout life, and unfortunately they didn't give us a manual at the beginning of our life to say, you know, it's like your car, you have to do certain maintenance and take care of this and that. You learn how to brush your teeth, take a bath or shower once a month. So it's, you know, a few basics, but you need a little bit more than that. And unfortunately, we live in a very toxic world, and it's getting more toxic. One of my friends, I don't know if you know, Louise Gilman, wrote a book years ago called How to Stay Young and Healthy in a Toxic World. So the problem we face, oh, got some more people coming in. They're locking out.
Yeah.
Oh, walk right by. Hi, welcome.
Sorry I'm late.
No, it's all right, don't worry about it. We allow everybody in, we don't lock the doors.
There we go, very good.
Thank you, May. I'm used to it.
Oh.
So to get back to the beginning of the discussion, we're challenged all the time by toxic substances in our environment. Now, I started becoming healthy years ago, and believe me, I ate a lot of bad food. My parents were in the food business, delicatessen, and I used to eat Hostess Twinkies, cupcakes, Pepsi Cola, all the sugary foods. I was brought up on carnation, evaporated milk. I'm surprised I survived past 20. You know, I was eating cold cuts, salami with nitrates, all this crap. And I lost, you know, most of my teeth had cavities. I was always in the dentist. So sugar was a big issue, you know, and nobody knew how bad it was. Yeah, you want help with it? We might did a door monitor there.
I'm Matt.
There we go.
Hi, come on in, welcome. So the, you know, we go, I'm probably a little older than you think. I was born in the 1940s, 71, and I survived most of this. But, you know, we had a lot of dental work, you know, I was always in a dentist. I think I put 3 or 4 children through college from my dentist, at least. I'm still going at it. And, you know, that was a big thing, sugar. You know, we were eating tons of sugar, really. I mean, but it wasn't contaminated as much with pesticides and all the adulterated additives. So, you know, sugar was bad, but you didn't have all the other toxic contaminants in the food chain and in our air and water as much. You know, it was there, but not at the level it is today. And I started becoming health conscious when I got into college, and I started eating a little more organic, and my parents thought I was crazy because I stopped eating cold cuts, and I said that was poison. So I made a whole transition, you know, just naturally into health. I became a vegetarian, which was tough because my blood pressure dropped and I didn't do it right. So yeah, you have to find what works for you, you know, genetically, physiologically, you know, what your body types are, you know, we're Northern European or Southern. You know, I don't eat pineapples because it doesn't work for me. You know, I don't eat tropical fruit, but certain foods work for me. But what we need most important other than food is water. And I just want to just briefly give you a quick synopsis of what the importance of clean water is and what clean water really is. So the first thing is we need a certain amount of water to hydrate our body. Water is essentially a solvent and a nutrient at the same time. So what is a solvent? The solvent is a liquid that things dissolve in, nutrients dissolve in. So when you eat food, you break down your food, it requires an aqueous environment, water, to conduct all the enzymatic actions that break down your food. And then when it gets down to the molecular level, those molecules of nutrients have to get transported through your bloodstream, through your gut, through your bloodstream, get into the cells. So water is a transport system. It's part of your normal physiological reactions in the body. You have to have it. And if you don't have enough water and you dehydrate, it's very nasty. You could die very rapidly in a couple days, or if you get heat exhaustion, it's very dangerous. But typically on a normal daily basis, you need a couple of liters of water a day. About a liter would be about a quart of water, so 2 or 3 liters a day average. If you're out, doing exertion, activities that exert yourself, you need more water. So you have to hydrate properly, especially down here in the Florida environment. And I got close to the heat exhaustion one time. It's not good. And I was fortunate with 2 doctor friends of mine, and we sat down, we iced myself, drank a lot of water, had to just rest for about an hour. But it can be critical, life-threatening. But typically, water is a requirement for your body on every level of your life. You cannot exist without water more than a few days. So in addition to being a solvent and a nutrient in itself, water does things on the other side. So after you do your metabolism, you have waste products. So you need water to transport the waste products out of your body, elimination. So water's a critical part of every normal metabolic and physiological reaction in your body. That's basics. So we got that. Now the question is, what is clean water? What is potable water? What is the water coming out of your tap? Is it clean and safe? Do you think it is? No. Anyone think it's clean and safe? So if you turn on your tap, right in the back here, and I'm not knocking Peggy's store, but anywhere in Martin County or anywhere else, if you turn on a tap, what are you really drinking? Are you drinking clean water? Now what do I define as clean water? Well, we all know the formula is H2O, plus some minerals, normal minerals. So there's calcium in the water, magnesium in the water, a few other trace minerals. That's clean water. Anything else is not necessary. Anything else that's in the water is usually some, you all live in Martin County, mostly? Okay. So I got the Martin County Water Report. And you can look it up. I have it here, I'll give you a copy. So every municipal treatment company in the United States is required by Clean Water Drinking Act to act to test the water yearly. And there's certain regulated contaminants, There's a lot of unregulated contaminants. We'll get into that separately. So the regulated contaminants are typically things that they find in the water and what they add to the water. Now, one of the requirements of a municipal treatment company is to make sure the water is potable. Now, what does potable mean? Well, I'll give an example of non-potable water. During monsoon season in the Ganges River, would you drink that?
No.
You can imagine. Or up in North Carolina, South Carolina. That's what you have. You have the Ganges River there after that Hurricane Florence. And unfortunately, you might be getting some more weather up there. So what happened, all the treatment plants overflowed, sewer treatment plants. They had all these large industrial farms that had animal waste, got all over the place. And there's bacteria and viruses in the water. If you drink that water, you're gonna die, basically. You're gonna die of a gastrointestinal infection. You can't drink that, it's non-potable. So any water that has disease-causing organisms in it is considered non-potable. And I have to define that a little further. It's mostly for bacteria and viruses. However, in municipal treatment, they can't really get rid of parasites, which are in surface water, like Cryptosporidium and Giardia. That's a little known fact. So even though water is chlorinated or disinfected, it doesn't really kill parasites. The only thing that gets rid of parasites is mechanical filtration. And a lot of treatment plants today don't have the level of mechanical filtration, really small pore filters to remove parasites. So even though your water is treated, it may still have parasites in it. That's with surface water, not necessarily well water, unless something gets in it. So when I looked at the water report, this is the 2017, and I've been following it. I live in Martin County, I live down the road. And it was an interesting thing I found here. For the first time, I saw arsenic in the water. At low levels, it's ND, non-detect, to 2 parts per billion. I called up the treatment plant, I spoke to the lab person there, and I said, well, I've been looking at the water report for the last 5 years, I haven't seen arsenic. How come there's arsenic in the water now? He says, we're now testing it at a more sensitive level. Well, they were testing it at 5 parts per billion, but it's really 2 parts per billion. So until they started testing it, it was in the water. We don't know. It probably was in the water for years. So you've been drinking water with arsenic. Again, you have to start with basics, and the basic thing is get the chemicals out of the water, the disinfection chemicals. Chlorine, chloramine is byproducts. That's number one. Then you look at the heavy metals like arsenic and fluorine. So that's what I would do here. Those are the basics. Now, simple filters, our simple filter is this, that's a one stage, but generally for this kind of water, you need at least 2 filters, maybe 3. So I have to make sure we have an arsenic-specific filter. You can go to reverse osmosis, it's another option, but the units that are out there are really inadequate. They don't take out the new type of fluoride, number 1. Number 2, to use cheap carbon filters. I don't know if anyone have reverse osmosis? Well, I can use it, but we upgrade it when they need to use it. I don't generally use it. It also takes out the normal minerals, so you have to put it back in. So you could take a filter, and you're familiar with ceramics. Well, the first thing is I always use a ceramic filter first, always. And why do I use a ceramic filter? Anyone know? So this, you know what ceramic is, by the way? It's like porcelain. It's a,
Pottery.
it has small pores in it. It's like porcelain. The reason I use ceramics is because this is an absolute barrier to parasites, number 1. Anyone who has a weakened immune system, you don't want to be drinking parasites. So around the United States, even countries that are third world countries that have bacteria, but they have parasites. Parasites are really deadly to people that have weakened immune systems. So if you put water through this, you're not going to get any parasites in your water. It stops bacteria like E. coli. Plus, it's a barrier to particles of dirt, rust, and sediment, and it can be cleaned, which is unique. And it doesn't regrow bacteria because it's got silver in it. It's not leachable. So that's my number 1 physical barrier that I like to use first. Then inside, we have a core block of material called metal gum. You'll read in our literature, metal gum, we divide this actually 5 different filter materials combined. Takes out chlorine, chloramine, 99%, fluoride, 1 filter, 85% on fluoride, 2 of them 99. We use a separate filter for that, which is a pure metal gum filter. And it'll take out glyphosate, takes out pharmaceuticals, better than 95%. We tested 15 pharmaceuticals. Now, all the testing we've done is published, and we use laboratories that follow NSF standards. If you know what NSF is, that's the testing agency certifies filters. So all our claims are documented by NSF testing protocols, by independent laboratories. We don't test in NSF because to do that, it's about $85,000. So we use laboratories that are certified by NSF, and we use the same protocol, so it's essentially the same. What else do we take out? VOCs, chemicals, 95%, most of them. Heavy metals, lead, 99% at high levels. So it's a whole list of these contaminants we take out. We have all the documentation on our website, which is, by the way, the website is www.cwrenviro.com. CWR, it's on our literature, CWRENVIRO.com. If you go to a blog site, there's like dozens of articles. I've done videos for Hippocrates. I've been on TV interviewed, so you can get a wealth of information about a lot of subjects on water, about plastics in water, about fluoride, lead, Flint, Michigan, which was a disaster. That was a criminal negligence situation. And there's lead in the water all over the country, but that was so egregious that these people should have been pumped, the people that ran the treatment plant. It's just that it was just cheap. They don't want to spend $100 to neutralize the water. That's what it got down to. So these are unusual situations, but there's flints all over the country. And I see water that has 10, 15 chemicals in it, industrial waste chemicals, 6 or 8.